Welcome back to a new video on this channel. I know I said I wasn't going to do sewing much, at least if you saw my last video I mentioned something like that. I intended to go paint on a sweater, but I got uninspired and very not excited about it because it turns out that sweater is, although comfortable, I don't like the way it looks on me, so I don't want to put any more time in it. Instead I'm gonna work on a few projects, not like I'm gonna make things from scratch, but those kind of projects that have been laying in a pile for a while. You know, those projects that either has been taking space in my head, in my brain, and it would be really nice to get that space out and open it up for other things. And, well, they're gonna be things that I'm gonna wear very much, I sense. And this project that I have not done at all, but I want to share with you this beautiful piece of history. It's a 1950s play suit, I guess, and the only thing I need to do to fix it is to replace the elastic bit on the sides that are very crusty and no longer elastic. But I have no idea how to do it, so I got scared and I didn't work on this project at all. And it was also not motivating because when wearing this, just to show you the before, I realized I will also have to triple my breast size. And that's not gonna happen anytime soon. Like, my breast size have been very consistent, and according to my mum, I need to get pregnant for my breast to grow. I have no intention of doing that anytime soon, if ever. So yeah, that's not gonna happen. But I do want to finish it one day and fix it. That would be really lovely. The project that I'm going to work on most definitely is this beautiful 90s dress from my mum that is from the literal 90s, and it was in perfect mint condition, or is in this before shot. It is perfectly. It's like it's almost not been worn, but according to my mum it's been worn quite a lot. And yes, I do like it as it being long, but it doesn't really feel like me. And when trying it out, because I was first very hesitant if I actually wanted to cut it, that was my original idea, to cut it short, but then I got like, but it's very pretty. But then I wore it for an entire day, and it's also not very practical in the house I'm living, because that day I had to get up a couple of times to my bedroom, and I had a few near-death experiences, because it's long, that's the first one. And although it's stretchy, it is very narrow, and I got my feet hanging out, or I couldn't open my legs wide enough, which made me almost fall from my stairs. And I realized that that was not going to work. So we're gonna shorten it, and I also want to see if it's gonna look any better if I just make it a little bit more form-fitting around my waist. You might have noticed this little safety pin that I put in. That's because I tried it on and I figured that's about the length I want to have it. Got this nifty little tool from the thrift shop for like €2 kind of a while back. I got it initially because I once shortened a dress before and it went like very crooked. Like, if I would stand upside down, it would be like a ramp you could like roll off of. That's crooked it was. And according to my mum, like, my grandmother used these sort of things very often to make sure that the line is very straight. So I used that, just like pump it. It was fun, and just turn around while pumping it. It was not a very neat line, but it was enough to give me like an idea, and then I just went over with my chalk drawer so that I have a nice line. So I cut it off, which was very scary, but I started to like, oh, should I have done it when I already cut it? So it was like, yes, because you can't go back anymore. So I cut it, and I hemmed the edge. No, I zigzagged the edge. I'm not certain if I had to do that with this fabric, but I did it anyway. And then I folded it over just once, because the original hem wasn't either with a double hem. I think it's because the fabric wouldn't sit nicely. So I just did one fold and I sew it, and then I tried it on backwards, like inside out, and pinched the back like about where I wanted the fabric to gather. Is that the right word? Well, I pinned it, and then I made 2 dots, and it was technically finished, but I couldn't see properly if it looked good. Like, I tried to look back and I tried to see in the video if I could see if it looked, and it looked perhaps a little bit bulky at places and weird, but I couldn't see it properly, so I was like, perhaps it's not that bad, but I can't see it, and do I really care? And initially I was not trying to go back to it, but I did go back to it. I did try to make it a little bit neater, the finish of the edges. I don't know if that worked, because in this time I kind of still have to do it, but that's what I've done, definitely. Hopefully it looks better now, but I will ask the people I'm with if it looks bad in the back, or you tell me if you can actually see it in the video, because apparently it's behind me and I can't see it, and even in the mirror, because it's like in a corner, it's kind of dark, and no matter how I turned, I couldn't look at it to see if it looked good in the back. Perhaps my back is not my business. That is possible, and if that is so, that will be fine, I guess. If nobody mentioned it to me that it looks shit from the back. Next up is this lovely dungarees that has been worn many times. I got it secondhand. It's probably my most worn item because it is really comfortable and just really nice. It's like that thing I grab and I feel a little bit meh, or if I go skating and I know I'm gonna fall and I don't want to worry about possibly destroying clothes. And as you can see, it has already been patched up once because the fabric there on my butt is very thin and I got a giant hole, so I sewed a patch over there. But not too long after that, I was told that again there were also holes. So that's what we're gonna fix today. We're gonna make it so that I'm gonna able to wear these dungarees a couple of more times. Probably will have to patch up more because, like I said, the fabric is kind of getting thin, so eventually it will be just one patchwork and no actual jeans anymore. But not right now. So what I did for this, I did it a little bit different than my original one. I got some interfacing and I cut like a shape to fit around the hole, and I ironed it on from the inside of the pants. And then I went and cut out a shape around the hole twice, like for both holes I cut out a shape of this fabric that you have seen many times. I made a pair of pants out of it, I made a bag out of it, and I made another bag. Well, I'm going to have made another bag, but that's later. And it also has been a curtain. So the fabric has had many uses, and it'll probably be more, as I've told you. There's going to be more patches needed on this pants eventually. I know it's going to rip at some other places. So I cut those out and I folded over the edge and then pinned it to the pants. And sewed on my sewing machine. And I originally planned to also put a zigzagging pattern on it for the strength, but I kind of liked the look of it just being clean. I felt that was more interesting. It might not be as strong, but I can always go back to it and zigzag it then, right? Also, it's like a very pain in the ass because it's like a very awkward position of the pants that is very hard to maneuver it. I know that from last time and I was not feeling it, and also I liked the way this looked better. So that was a very easy fix. It was probably in half an hour. Well, it should have been in half an hour, but I sometimes take many breaks because I get distracted. So these are the pants. I think they worked out pretty well. It was like a very easy, quick fix that was very satisfying because now I can have my favorite pair of dungarees and wear it again. Yeah, which was nice because the dress was definitely not as easy fix. because I got tired a lot. Like this week has been like, I could have barely keep my eyes open. I don't know why. Well, it's probably because my sleeping pattern is very messed up at the moment. So I fell asleep a couple of times in this spot, which is very nice. Like I didn't have like a nice private spot to fall asleep in and outside, which is one of my favorite things to do in the summer, is sleep. So very nice to have that, although very annoying because I couldn't get much done. Well, I did eventually got everything done that I set it on, except for the 1950s suit, playsuit kind of thing. But other than that, I done quite a lot, I think. So, yay me. And for the last thing, I decided that it was now in this video that I'm gonna finish most of the bag that I started when I made this other bag, that I will link somewhere up here. And as you might have known, I originally said that I would do this as like a side project every time I was busy on another project for a video, but perhaps you could have seen that didn't really happen. Like I probably did it once and then I stopped doing it. Anyway, this video I'm gonna get most of it done. Most of it. It's not finished, but I will explain why. So the first step was to try and find the placement of the little straps that came out on different places. I started with the front piece, and once I figured that out, I placed the other front piece, because I got two so that I could sandwich the straps in between, and I sewed that both with good sides together and with the straps neatly tucked in so that I couldn't accidentally sew it wrongly. So I sewed that, leaving a gap over so I could like get it inside out. But before you get it inside out, you have to cut off the corners, and where there's a curve, cut it little triangles before you turn it out, because that way it will look a lot more neatly and it will work better. Then I ironed it just to make it neat, and then did a top stitch, and then within the top stitch I zigzagged it because I wanted the bag to have a little bit more sturdiness. And I already have done this to the pockets, which you might have noticed from videos before. So I zigzagged that before I went to the back and basically did the same thing, which I will show just because that's the same thing, just the straps and inside out stuff, and zigzagged it because that had to be zigzagged as well. It was time for me to sew the pockets on. First assemble the pockets properly. Well, one was somewhat assembled in the last video I made when this appeared in. Wow, Esther, you're so well at speaking. I hope this is going to be an interesting and fun video. Anyway, where was I? Yes, assembling the pockets. So I assembled the pockets. I had this front piece and then the side pieces, and I had to, I believe, what did I do? I first sewed the corners of the side pieces together, and then I tried to sew in the front piece of it. I have no idea if I'm explaining this right. And also, I don't think you should really take me on this, because it's not the best project I ever made. I will tell you that much. And then I went on to the most annoying part, and where I made the most mistake. You remember that a couple of videos before this, I was very proud that I took time to redo things and make sure that I did them well. I didn't do that for this project, really. So I tried to sew on the pockets. I folded in the hem and then did like a top stitch, because you can't sew it like you do with most things, just inside out. You can't do that because that just doesn't work with this piece. So you have to like top stitch it, and I kept doing things wrong. It worked. It worked. Like here, I top stitch it, and it doesn't look that bad from the front, right? But look at the back. I don't know what happened here, but I just went like, I'm not going to do this over, I'm just going to sew it until it sticks, because the front you can't really tell. And I missed some corners, and it might not match up perfectly. But yeah, sew the pockets on and then sew the flaps. And that's as far as I got. Like, I did the front and the back, and basically the shape of the back is entirely here. I originally thought I might hate it, but I don't think I do generally hate it. It's kind of cute, I think. And wait. So what is left to do is I want to dye it a different color, and I technically have the paint, But I don't have dye fixative. Like I've the Rid fabric dye, if anyone have heard of that. I think you do, because I've seen it everywhere and seen most people use it. And I want to dye it in a nice green color to match the zigzag pattern, because it's not meant to be like very visible, but I do kind of like the pattern. And I'm still planning on dyeing it, because I have a couple of other things I want to dye, but the dye fixative is constantly out of stock. And my question is, how important is that? Like, if you have worked with it as well, how essential is the dye fixative? Because I have dyed with a red dye before, but I had the fixative. But the fixative is constantly out of stock. And I'm kind of getting very impatient and I want to dye it, but I'm worried that it's very essential and that it will just not stick if I not use that. Anyway. After I've dyed it, I will have to do a couple of more things. I want to have to get some D-rings for this part so that I can strap it over, attach it like that. And I've got these for a while. Like, I got these little closures. And I really want to use them for this project. I do think, well, I know that I will have to replace this D-ring for a bigger one, because this ain't gonna work. And then I want to do like a side closure with these. I think that would be really cool. I have 3 of them, so like both sides. And I might do like one here, or I will do Velcro. I still have Velcro, so I will use those. I could do a button. You tell me what to do with the closures of the flaps. Is that how you call it? Flaps? Anyway. Those are all the projects I made. I hope this video has been the least bit entertaining. If you did enjoy it, please leave a like and a comment, and especially comment what you think I should do with the back thing, like tips on the dies and the closures, and subscribe, because I would really love to welcome you in here. And I am determined to do like some exciting projects. They are coming. This might not have been the video with exciting projects, but I promise you I have some exciting projects, at least projects that I'm excited about. So subscribe if you want to see those. Yeah. Bye. Oh, yes, I'm in the shower. I had it. Why don't I have it now? Because the camera is on. That's why. Anyway. Am I like very bright? I feel like I'm shiny. I feel this is not very flattering. I guess we have to do with it. So, if I do this, does that help? I don't know. It's gonna be very chaotic, isn't it? Again.